Welcome to our coverage of the IMF Africa Rising Conference. With me now is the Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, Christine Lagarde. Thank you so much for being with us.
Great pleasure.
Madam Lagarde, Africa has a very good last decade with very strong growth. When you are looking at these last 10 years, what is your lessons that we have learned?
Certainly, the countries of sub-Saharan Africa, in the main, have had a good decade of growth, and they are currently the second fastest growing regional area in the world. The only one that is ahead of them is South Asia. I think the learnings from that period is that they have kept their macroeconomic policies in check, and they have operated within good rules, discipline, and they have resisted the crisis as a result of that. I think the second factor is that they have had the benefit of significant natural resources, commodities that they have traded with many other partners around the world, more so than intra-regionally actually, and that demand addressed to Africa has also helped them in the process. The third learning would be that that growth now needs to be consolidated, made more sustainable by being better shared within the population of each country.
How the countries can do that? What is the challenge, what they need to do different in the next 10 years?
Our recommended policies would include focusing on building infrastructure, building institution, and building people. By that I mean building infrastructure. You can see that whether it's road, whether it's port, airport, railways, public transportation, there's a lot to be done. And with a growing population, you need to plan, you need to do it in an organized way, not randomly, with a view to developing growth and facilitating the diversification of these economies. Building institution, by that I mean good governance, transparency of what is done, of what is collected, of what is spent, so that public opinion actually knows where money is spent and where the resources of the countries are being allocated. And people, by that I mean investing in health, in education, making sure that there is a match between the needs of the markets and the skills of the people, in particular the young people and the African women.
Over the last 10 years, in particular the last 5 years, we have seen a number of African countries for the very first time tapping the international capital markets and issuing sovereign bonds. Obviously, this is bringing new finance, but are you worried about the risks and the challenges that this trend is also bringing into Africa?
You know, there is a twofold signal out of that. One is those countries that have gone to the market, that have issued bonds, whether in local currencies like Nigeria or in foreign currencies like others, 14 of them, are recognized as good destination of investment. The second signal, though, is that we see that the yields is going up, which means that the risks is seen as increasing by the investors. And probably to those two messages, the governments should be attentive and should be cautious about not overloading the country with too much debt.
Africa has also benefited in great measure of the strong growth in emerging markets, China and India buying lots of commodities in this region. What is your view for the next few months about particularly China and India?
Well, we see these two countries as continuing to grow at a solid,
no hard landing,
solid pace, and not with a hard landing in sight. I also observe that a country like China is a very strong trading partner, but it's also a major investor in many of the African countries. So those relationships are building up, and I hope that they intensify to include these issues of building people. And I would hope that at the same time as investing in projects, the investors will also invest in the people and procure the educational services, the vocational services that will be so much needed by the people.
Madame Lagarde, thank you so much.
Thank you.